Okay, so today is kind of coming on the heels of me getting tested at PT yesterday for my knee and the results finally moving up instead of kind of plateauing. And there's a lot of things I've learned in the last year, and especially in the last 6 months. I started with a new PT in September, and it's a very specific workout, specific number of days with specific focuses every day, a little bit different, but the same thing is to build my quad to a minimum of 91% plus making them even, the right and the left. So it's been a really long journey for me, and I recognize that I keep referencing my ACL reconstruction and subsequent journey post-surgery, but it's taught me a lot of lessons both before, after, and in the present moment that I want to share with all of you. And this kind of comes on the heels of my last podcast about setting yourself up for success. And what I really want to bring in is that the reason that the numbers started to go up at the rate it finally did was through discipline and consistency. So when I've had 5 PTs this year, 2 main ones and 3 kind of sprinkled in. And, you know, I've also been in different phases of this like recovery process. But my old PT was just like, do these things, whatever, had like this loose plan. And at one point was like, I was kind of burned out, and he was like, well, just take a break and like whatever. And I really had, during those first 6 months, really to discipline myself, which I did. But it was kind of like, I'm going to do this and that. And it was kind of like this loose game plan. And then when I started working with my new PT, he literally made me a workout plan with exactly what I needed to do, with exactly how many sets, a space to write in, what weight I was doing, and a 4-week plan. So they were in these 4-week plans 4 times a week, and each day had a plan. And once I got into that flow, I was like, oh my gosh. And we can relate this back to anything in our life, right? Because we can wake up in the morning and be like, this is my plan for the day, and we can totally go off the rails. But if we write it down and actually make a plan and follow through and are consistent, we start to see growth over time. And I'm relating this back to my ACL because, again, it's going to show you how that can shake out in every part of your life. And listen, I'm a Taurus sun, I'm a projector, I'm a non-sacral. I have a lot of right arrows in my human design chart. I am not the queen of discipline and consistency and pushing through and staying on the plan. So I have to allow for how I'm actually feeling day to day sometimes to dictate if I'm going to do the thing. And so I want to bring in throughout this discussion today, yes, discipline and consistency, but also checking in with the body and knowing when to push through that threshold and when the threshold is telling you to rest. So let's dive into it. So let's start with consistency. Consistency is about those tiny little day-to-day decisions and actions that you take. So for me, it would, looking at my week, making sure I got 4 days at the gym in a 7-day week. It didn't have to be 4 days in a row, 3 days in a row. I found that the best for me over time as I tracked my progress was 2 days on at the gym, 1 day doing something else, and 2 days on again in that 7-day week. And those little bits of committing to walk into the gym and do the workout, doing the workouts, making sure I got those 4 days in again, 7 days. There was windows to wake up and be exhausted from work, possibly be on my moon, maybe just being exhausted or needing to focus on something else in the day. It still gave me the flexibility, but the consistency to do it 4 days a week. This is also the consistency when I don't feel like it and just putting on my gym clothes and getting to the gym and starting the workout. You know, some days with consistency, I might have done my full workout, which is about 2.5 hours. Other days I might have been short on time. And in the beginning, I didn't want to like be rigid and like I just wanted to do the perfect workout. But over the last like 4 or 5 months, I've realized that sometimes it needs to be a 30-minute workout and I just hit my legs. Sometimes it's an hour and I do the full strength workout. Sometimes I'll just go in and do 30 minutes of cardio, right? So, but the consistency was showing up 4 days a week to the gym. Obviously on other days, it was either a rest day or I was going for a walk or I was going to a PT session, but it was a minimum of 4 days. And that consistency helped my muscle grow over time. I've literally for the last 1.5 years been -10 muscle and I am working towards pre-injury status, which is wild how long this is actually taking because you see so much online about how long this process takes, and with the body it takes whatever it is for whoever it is and how long that person commits, which is my commitment. I want to be able to surf and snowboard and skateboard and run and bike and do whatever I want without restrictions, but to do that I need this consistency in my workouts. Where I think this can be related into personal goals, right? It's like me showing up to do this podcast, me showing up online, my own goals within my business, with career, with, like I've been talking about with my 2025 visions. It's making a plan, taking small steps over time. And I have to say, now that I'm in the flow, like I'm 5 months into this kind of 4-day-a-week strength workout, it's just part of my life. It's part of my day. It's a big part of my day because it is a couple hours, but I have just gotten to the point where it's in my schedule. What I do love, I have to say, is that I don't have to get up at 6 a.m. and run to the gym. It's like some days I get up and do this and I shoot a podcast and then I go to the gym, or other days I get up and go to the gym and then get on with my day. Like, it's something I've been talking about, is like make it work for you and your schedule and how you're feeling in the day and what the highest priority goal is. But it's that consistency to show up. 2, discipline over motivation. Like I said, in a 7-day week, I want to hit the gym 4 days. There are a lot of days I'd rather just drink coffee and sit on my couch and do nothing, or go to like a gym class where someone else tells me what to do. But I know in order to hit the goals that I'm looking towards this year, it requires me to push through and go to the gym. Am I always motivated to go to the gym? No. So this is where already knowing how your week's gonna look loosely, already know when you're waking up in the morning what are your top priorities, is the discipline. And then over time, it just creates a flow, and the motivation isn't a part of it. You just do it. You just put on your gym clothes and you go. You just write the email for your business. You just do the podcast, even though you're wondering if anyone's even listening or watching or engaging with your content. Over time, it gets easier and the motivation isn't even part of it. I will have days where I won't. I'll just be like, it's not happening. But like I said, it's more based on like levels of where I'm at physically, mentally, emotionally, when I know if I go, it's maybe not the best choice. But honestly, going to the gym is 9 times out of 10 always the choice. But again, I'm a projector, so this is for my non-sacrals. Like, it is imperative that you check in with yourself and make sure that you're not pushing through a threshold that's going to lead to burnout or more exhaustion, or kind of your nervous system being fried. And this can go with my MGs and Gs too. My sacrals, you know, is there one thing you can take off your list to do the thing that is more important? That's like a good analysis, because obviously my sacrals, you are superheroes and have the ability to do it all. But my non-sacrals, I really want you to think about taking a moment and resting, or rescheduling what are your top priorities for the day. If gym is your priority, or writing that newsletter is your priority, what can you remove from your day so you don't hit that threshold of exhaustion? And I feel like when you move through the discipline of making new commitments, or adding in new things into your life, or committing to a certain goal, like I said, over time there is long-term benefits to these short-term kind of uncomfortable thresholds that you're pushing through. Let's talk about how we can create like some tactile things to create this consistency and discipline in our life. Number one would be to, set your goal. Like, vision what your goal is. Is it getting to the gym more? Is it showing up on social media more? Is it, for me, it's consistency with this podcast, consistency with a newsletter, and sharing myself. Because as a projector, I need to be seen, and in order to be seen, I need to put myself out there to be seen and share my wisdom, right? And for other auric types, it's a little different, but for me, I am also a self-projected projector, so I have a lot of activation in my throat chakra, and I am finding that I really love sharing my wisdom and guidance and kind of who I am through this medium, putting it on YouTube, putting it on podcasts. You can hear me audibly, you can see me visually. I like being in front of the camera. I like talking through what I'm interested in and what I want to share with all of you. But if I look back at some of my first on-camera videos and stuff I was doing, like behind the scenes when I originally was in my coaching program years ago, just getting comfortable on camera has taken me a long time. But dedication and discipline and consistency and showing up and like being uncomfortable and knowing that my goal is to be seen, long-term goals, to continue to facilitate my entrepreneurial pursuits and share with all of you along the way. And what I'm seeing with the science of my knee is, because I've been doing these tests over time, over the last like 6 or 8 months, we're testing my knee. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? And I've been able to see, when I really dig down and commit and do the work and push myself, progressive overload is like getting uncomfortable, putting 5 or 10 pounds more on every week over time. I've been doing this same like gym workout for like 3 months also, but it's like fine-tuning the technique, fine-tuning the flow, fine-tuning the progressive overload, pushing myself a little bit more, knowing when I need to just do the same weight I did as the last time, knowing when my body's ready to add in the weight, knowing when I'm on my moon and maybe it's not the day to go to the gym, maybe it's a day to just do some stretching, and shifting that day over, because I'm tuning in. Like, as women, we are not on this 24-hour cycle that men are, and we do need to check in with our bodies. It's a huge part of our experience and something that we all are still learning and deconditioning from over time. Once you've created your vision, let's set some clear goals. What is it for you? I'm just going to relate this back to what I'm working through. My goals are 1 newsletter a month minimum, 1 podcast a month minimum, although the bigger picture is 4 a month. Am I there? No, because sometimes I'm just not having the week. Again, I'm still gaining that momentum. What is it for you? What is that career goal, business goal, fitness goal, relationship goal that you want to really work on? Set the goal. Set the goal monthly, quarterly, yearly, whatever it is for you. A lot of my goals are monthly goals, weekly goals, and I just set them, and I'm constantly threading in the 10 big visions I have. Of course, listen, working on 10 visions simultaneously is wild. So 1 or 2, what are the top 2 visions that you're working on right now, or 3? Next up, track the progress. What I really have loved from this new PT is he literally took extra time out of his day to make a little chart, tell me what the workout is, tell me what I want to hit for reps, tell me what the kind of threshold is, and giving me a little box to write in what weight I hit that day. And usually on the backside, I kind of write I'm on my moon, or I'm having a good day and I'm feeling good, or I kind of track my emotional progress too. And it allows me to look back and see how far I've come. And I want to go into my computer and chart how much weight I've improved over the weeks. But tracking has really helped me know what I'm going to do. Because listen, when you walk into the gym not knowing what you're going to do, you just putter around and you go on that machine and you go on that machine and you can't really remember what weight you did from the week before, but you think you did that. But when you start putting pen to paper and tracking that over time and looking back, A, it's motivation, B, it keeps you on track, and it helps you move the needle forward. So I've been loving tracking my goals, and I've been talking about tracking. I've been tracking a lot of things, but when we're talking about this big goal of growing my muscle, I am really excited. I have a big trip planned in May, and the goal is to be able to be healthy enough to be active on this trip. So I am in this 10-week window of deep tracking, focus, consistency, and discipline, so that I can hit some of the marks when I test my knee again in a few weeks, that I'm moving in the direction that I want to go. So things I want you to think about: consistency, showing up for yourself, discipline, pushing through the threshold, knowing when to rest, knowing when to adjust, knowing when to look at your schedule and adjust the importance of what it is, tracking your habits, turning it into an everyday part of your week. And your vision really is a long-term goal, but right now we're in the short-term, day-to-day hustle of all of it and moving into new things. Thank you all if you made it this far in the podcast. I appreciate you. I put a lot into this, and I'm really just sharing some wins and strategies and insights on how I'm kind of moving forward into my vision and what I really want to create. Thank you all for being here.